And you'll have the opportunity to ask these questions, but we've had a few come through already as well. One of the questions that came through was, you get asked about certain topics, so Jay, about social media. What do you wish people asked you about? So what do you wish people asked you to talk about?
Barbecue food?
They already do. Is the restaurant ready yet?
About 2 hours away. 2 hours away.
It's a weird one for me because, like, for the last 10 years, I've just shared shit that excites me. So usually people ask me the right questions because it's just some stuff I share. And obviously this year it's just doubling down on the mindset. Because as you saw, Q&A went down the mindset, and you just see I just become a different person with it because I fucking love it. So that and no one talk about crypto for now, if that's okay. Thank you. It's fucking tanking.
I think for me personally, when you ask better questions, you get better outcomes. So for me, a lot of the time, people will ask me questions about running a fitness business, and I just wish they would ask me questions about leadership, because essentially building a successful fitness business is about leadership and communication. So ask more questions about that and you'll get better outcomes.
I just want to echo that, because everyone sees the sexiness and they're looking, what's the next sales tactic? What's the next thing that's going to generate 10 leads, 20 leads, whatever it may be? In reality, it's doing the same shit every single day. Like Jay mentioned, Phil mentioned, and we mentioned, no one sees the 4, 6, 8, 10-hour days that you're producing content, putting the same thing over and over. They just see the flash reels, the highlights.
Nice. So somebody here is working ahead of a part-time PT course that they're starting in August. Haven't started up any social media. I'm at the beginning of my journey. What do you suggest I do first so I'm prepared for when I start the course in August?
Start now. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make is, when I'm qualified, I'll post content. And when you're qualified, you won't post content because you'll be so busy trying to build a business. Start now. Start getting traction now. Because the thing is, if you've got if you are becoming a PT and that takes you 3 months, you've got a 3-month head start in figuring out what your audience wants. And here's the thing, a lot of people want to post a perfect picture. Document your process of becoming a PT. And actually then you might actually build up your first 10, 15 clients before you've even qualified. Because then you can turn around and say, hey, I'm becoming a PT, I want some guinea pigs, I'm going to work on it, it's free. And during my time, I'm just going to be sharing my wisdom that I've learned to you guys. You've basically kickstarted your business, all from social media.
Number 1, it better be my course, whoever it is. Number 2, I would find out the job to be done. And there's an actual framework for this, and I don't know if you guys have ever heard about it before. But, and I don't want to do this any injustice, but basically when someone buys a drill or buys a hammer, the first thought process is, if I buy this hammer, it's to hammer and nail, when in fact it's not. For example, you buy a hammer to put a nail in a wall to hang a picture, to create a home. So there's an actual job to be done, and digging deeper on what that is will essentially lead you to better content, being more driven, knowing what people want, knowing what people desire, and essentially that's what's going to keep you going. It's going to get you up at 5 a.m. in the morning. It's going to keep you grinding those days.
For me, the first thing is, as Jay was saying there, you document your progress. You know, you get in the gym, you put in the hours, you better yourself. But it's also a realization that, you know, it's not about you. So we get a lot of students who will come to us and as we were saying, I'll wait until I'm qualified. What are you waiting for? Tony Robbins hasn't got a fucking life coach qualification, but he's still giving it out good, actionable information that you can go and apply right now. So Phil mentioned this earlier, there's 2 things that are sort of stopping people in business, and one of them's the mindset, those self-limiting beliefs. So feeling that you're not going to be good enough, there's this imposter syndrome because there's people ahead of where you are at this moment in time, when all you want to do is think of, I'll document what I'm doing, garner a bit of interest, and then think of the person on the other end, how would they feel? What information do they want? Rather than thinking it's about me, because we see it all the time. You're posting topless photos of yourself. No one gives a fuck. 10 years ago, you used to, personal trainers had photos of themselves topless on business cards. No one gives a fuck. Like, they just care, can you get them into that shape? Can you better their life? So starting off, document your process, think about who it is that you want to work with. And again, that can be cliched. And it starts for every business coach, like I mentioned yesterday, is focusing on your avatar, who it is you want to work with, and just talk to them in their language. Because it's so easy to get caught up in PT language and no one has a fucking clue what you're saying.
Nice. Somebody asked, Jay, what do you find are the benefits of open water swimming or cold water swimming?
Usually my response is there's two types of people, those who want to know the benefit before doing something and those who do things to find the benefit. For me, going for a CDO every day has nothing to do with the physiological benefits, it's more psychological. For the very fact that I don't want to do it, it's fucking cold. But it's a little win in the day because what I understood from the sea was discipline. Something I say, motivation is doing things when you feel like doing it. Discipline is doing things regardless of how you feel. If I can discipline myself in the morning to do something that I don't want to do and win, the rest of the day becomes easy. And the person that goes out of the sea is very different to the person that goes in. Because what discipline is about not getting caught up in that feeling before and reminding yourself of that feeling that you have once you've done something. So focus on that discipline and do something that is difficult every day. And for me, that is that CDO. For you, it could be a cold shower. For you, it could be getting up early and journaling or stretching or doing something for yourself that's hard to do. But as you know, I say hard things, easy life, easy things, hard life.
Any questions from the room before I go back to the questions that were messaged in?
Phil's got an awesome quote for this. Remember it. Fucking love this.
Imposters don't get imposter syndrome. So I think that's a big thing you've got to ask yourself. And, imposter syndrome essentially comes when you're worried about the opinions of the people around you, whether that's other coaches, family members, your partner. And like I said back to earlier on, if you have got a vision bigger than the vision that your family has, your partner has, other coaches have, you're going to come across as different. People are not going to understand you. And it's up to you to have the courage to continue that. And the ability for you to continue that is down to the strength and the clarity and the detail of your vision. And the more detail it has, the easier it is to carry it out. Most people set a vision inside their mind of, I want to be rich, I want to be wealthy, or I want to do X, I want to do Y. But there's no real actual appreciation of upsides, downsides, detail, the plan, and they essentially don't know what they want to do. So it's very vague. And, I scanned the room earlier on and there's like 5 people put their hand up in respect to a vision. So that says an awful lot about how one leads and directs their life. So, yeah, it's the answer to that.
I think I said this quote yesterday, but I'm going to remind everyone again. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. So essentially what imposter syndrome is you actually discounting the value that you bring to the table. And again, what you have to remember is that you can teach someone to someone else. You could teach someone something to every single person in this room that they wouldn't know. So, and in fact, there was an actual study done on this. I think it was like in Harvard or something. 300 of the smartest 20-year-olds in the world sat down in a room and someone asked, who here suffers from imposter syndrome? And almost every person put their hand up. They didn't feel that they belonged there. And essentially, that's what it is. But you have to remember that you can always bring value to the table no matter what room you're in.
Has anybody watched the film Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio? Yeah? There was a scene where he was teaching a class and he was going to take them on a French summer, a French trip, and he knows nothing about the class or anything. And when he got caught for being an imposter, they asked him, like, how did you do all these things? He goes, how did you manage to convince a class of people that you knew what you were talking about? And he goes, well, I didn't need to know everything. I just needed to read a chapter above what they're learning. So he had read chapter 1 and 2 whilst he was teaching chapter 1, and then he teaches chapter 2 while he's reading chapter 3. And the reason I say that is that you don't need to be a complete book to be able to share your knowledge. Most of you are chapters ahead of any person that you're going to help when it comes to fitness. Okay, so you already have something valuable to give people. You know, a lot of people get inspired by people like with your business, like Jeff Bezos and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, great, be inspired by billionaires. No, you want to be inspired by someone who is a little bit ahead of you, who understands the game and the situation which you're currently in. And that's exactly the same for your clients. They don't want the fitness model with the six-pack abs. They want somebody who's had the same struggles that they have got and are just a few chapters ahead. And that will stop you getting this kind of imposter of needing to be perfect to put out what it is that you want to help the world with.
Yeah, I think, as everyone has echoed here, it's the value do you bring to the table. And when you're comparing yourself, a Fiat to a Ferrari, all those analogies and shit that you see, it's who's the person ahead of me that I'm chasing? Not Jeff Bezos or not someone who's a billionaire, multimillionaire. It's like, okay, what's this person doing that I can do next, that I can move my business forward? And yeah, everyone in here suffers from it. And you can use it either as something that cripples you, or you can use it as a fuel to go, it's awesome. Like I mentioned yesterday, I have an amazing opportunity. I coach like 3 people, and it's 3 people I want to coach who are usually business owners who are making more than me. And I love being around them. It's like, I want to be where you are. What do you do? Like there's 2 restaurateurs, guys, that train with us, that have Michelin stars. And when we go there, I watch how their kitchen runs. I watch how their staff move and how they communicate. And it's just like, fuck, that's unreal. It could cripple me and I could, say these guys and go, fuck, I'm so far behind. Or I can go, fuck, I want to know what you know. So use it as a fuel.
A question that came through was, how do you manage mental fatigue when things get too much?
I suppose it's a matter of having the right non-negotiables in place and being very, very clear on what you say yes to and what you say no to. A lot of you guys are scared to say no to people because you're worried about the reaction that they're going to have. So you make these decisions in advance about your life. Make these decisions in advance about different scenarios. And also as well, the basic stuff, looking on top of your physiology, your hydration, your nutrition, your exercise, but also as well, like what you consume, the amount of time that you spend on social media, having good, strong internal questions like, am I investing my time wisely here? Is this serving me? Is this complementing my goal? Is this pulling me back? And, as well, being willing to ask for help. And that's one big challenge that a lot of people have is they don't ask for help and they suffer in silence. Then they end up essentially turning a small problem into a big problem because they should have asked for help earlier. So looking at communicating quick and early, there's a range of factors there that are just going to help you grow quicker. But looking at the baseline stuff, your physiology, the environment that you keep yourself in, the questions that you ask yourself or talk to yourself daily, the people that you surround yourself with, all of that, all compounds. There's not one answer for that. It's a multitude of things. So yeah.
So I would say is, if you treated your clients like you treat yourself sometimes, you wouldn't have any clients. You've got to, and I found this analogy years ago, and you've got to treat yourself like a £1 million racehorse. If you spent £1 million on a racehorse, you'd feed it the best food, you'd give it plenty of sleep and exercise, because every time it goes to the race, it fucking wins. And you need to treat yourself like that, because actually you not getting the sleep, you not recovering, you not exercising is doing a personal disservice to your clients, because you're not showing up at your best. And that's what your clients want. They want you at your best, because you get the best results with your clients when you've got your shit squared. And you need to have that selfish time to look after yourself and say, no, fuck off. Thursdays, Phone Swap Thursday, I'm off at a spa. You can't get in contact with me, because when I'm back, you're going to have a better service from me. And it's being okay with being selfish and looking after yourself, because actually you're being a lot more selfless to your clients because you can give more value.
I would say try and find and identify what your coping mechanisms are whenever you feel stress. Mine's when we first started, 15-hour days, 16-hour days, no systems in place, not making money. For me, it was going on a 2 or 3 day city break to sort of, find a little bit of time to refresh myself. I'd come back to my business fully energized. Alcohol. Like how many people here, especially in their younger days, just turn to alcohol, can't wait for the weekends. As you say, you do a disservice to your clients. And when I look back now, I realized that was just a coping mechanism for the stress that I was under. for all the shit that I was putting my body through. And so it becomes easier when I change my environment and cut those people out of my life who, again, are probably well-meaning, but it's not where I want to go. It takes a pair of cojones to say to your childhood friends, this isn't serving me. I don't want to be here. So I think you need to recognize some of our clients, when they're stressed, they eat. Okay, well, how can we help that? Everything we teach as personal trainers, a lot of the time, it's very little about coaching. It's more about time management, trying to get someone in the right frame of mind. And I used a quote yesterday from Greg Nuckols: physiology only matters if someone is psychologically invested. Okay, and the same goes for you. Okay, you guys have to be eat, sleep, thinking about your business. How can I improve it? How can I get to the next level? But also finding ways to not look at negative ways of coping. Just going, give yourself that little bit of time. Give yourself an hour or two in the day where you can work on yourself and train and just have, journaling's a massive thing. I think everyone in here would say, you learn a lot about yourself when you do that. Okay, so find out what you're using as coping mechanisms, as crutches, and try and sort of work on them.
Any questions from the room?
Hi guys. Couple of weeks ago, I made a huge decision that I'm going to move to New York. And Alwyn already gave me contact, obviously, to talk to, during the plans. Is there anything you can tell me in preparation for it?
Why are you going to New York?
Lack of fulfillment, I think, is the best way I can describe it here.
To work in fitness?
I think there's a lot, sorry?
To work in fitness?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I have my own plans to open my own studio eventually, but my target market, but the business plan is mainly to help victims of bullying and violent encounters build strong and healthy bodies and help them to defend themselves a lot better. That's the way I want to go with it. But a lot of what I was told is that it might not work here, but throughout this entire conference, I've actually become a lot more confident from hearing all the speakers. I've become more confident in what my original vision can actually work. But I now feel that if I move to New York, I will have more opportunity. So I just wondered if there's anything you could tell me that might benefit me in terms of clarity or contacts or anything like that.
That makes sense. Bit left field, but I'd say document. If I was in your shoes, I'd be letting everyone know what I'm doing and get people to follow me on my journey, because it's then going to give me clarity. I'm going to be producing content, and if some of that gets hit by the right people who followed your journey and they're in New York, they're going to be hitting you up. And there's lots of people at the moment on TikTok that are doing stuff like that they've just upped and left and gone somewhere, and I've seen that they've suddenly got 50, 60,000 followers. People document the journey, and there you go, there's your first clients. If you're talking about, hey, I'm doing this because of my life and that, firstly, you're kind of, I do this in a video form, I journal. I kind of journal by documenting my process, because I know if I hold myself accountable to my audience, I'll keep consistent, because I don't want to let them down. And actually, that's great, because then I've got consistent content by documenting my own journey. It's therapeutic, because I have to let people know what the fuck I'm doing, so I need to ask myself on a daily basis, what are you doing? And if those people are following you, you're going to, the most beautiful thing about TikTok is you don't know where it's going to go. So, some people have just had millions of views on something and it's just gone bang and changed their life, all because they decided to document. And for all you know, someone go, hey, I'm in New York and I've just been following your journey. Can we, where are you working from? What gym are you at? And it comes back to what I said about audience. If you just go there and no one knows why and how and the journey, a lot of people want to follow you because they've considered doing it themselves. They just haven't got the bollocks. So document.
Yeah, I think if you're going there from a business perspective, on top of all what Jamie said from a life perspective, is who's doing what you want to do already well? Where are they located? What are they doing? What are they selling? Who do they work with? Getting very, very clear on, first of all, who is that niche, which I think you've got dialed in. I shared earlier on about, as you vary that, the more complex your business becomes because you're talking to too many different people. Number two, what are you actually going to sell them? How much is it going to cost? Three, what do you need to keep the lights on? And also looking at what is the living expenses going to be there? Get clear on the actual logic of living expenses, getting a premises, hiring a couple of people to get in and help you. You need to get clear on those figures. So have you taken time to write and document down what essentially it's going to cost for 2 years to live there? And have you got some savings to allow you to essentially, capitalize on that plan? So
It's exciting, though.
I've actually sort of worked out, just when I sell a house here, pay off debts and stuff, I can actually have enough to, rent for, 6 or 7 months, I think. So look into that process of living, and obviously follow a couple of people who actually document, New York.
yeah, what's your first plan of action? You wanting to set up your own facility, or you wanting to work somewhere and then
Work somewhere first.
right? So work somewhere, earn your stripes, get your experience, get your name out, get your results, build your reputation, do what Jamie says, document the whole thing, and then wait until you get to a point where you see an opportunity and then pounce on it. So essentially, you're moving yourself from this environment, and is everybody here Northern Irish? Put your hand up if you're Northern Irish. So it's pretty much everyone. Northern Ireland's a really small place. It's a really small-minded place. So my guess is a lot of you guys come from estates, developments, you may live in the countryside, and you know what you're surrounded by. You're surrounded by your parents' beliefs, you're surrounded by your mates' beliefs that used to be in school, that you've outgrown and you've outstripped. You know what Northern Ireland's like. It is a very small place. It's a very small-minded place. Do not let that preoccupy what you do with your life. The world is a significantly bigger place than Belfast. And do not think that what people in Belfast think about life, about business, about money, are your beliefs. Create your new beliefs, create your own beliefs, create your own economy, create your own opportunity. And that requires you to really set new standards above and beyond what everyone else that you know sets for themselves. And that does take courage, and you get rewarded for your courage. And I've said this a lot, but you get paid in respect to your tolerance of pain, all right? So building a big business is not all upside. There's plenty of downside to it. And that is where I keep linking back to the word vision, about having that vision, about taking it, and that needs to be bigger than Belfast. So be very, very mindful. I think, one exercise I used to do years ago with clients was, and everybody can do it now, is take out your mobile phone. Everybody do it. And go and have a scroll on your WhatsApp and look at the average of the people that you're talking to or communicating with on a daily basis. There's going to be clients in there, there's going to be family in there, there's going to be a partner in there. And you have to ask yourself, are these people that support my vision? Are these people that, quite frankly, elevate me? And if you look at the quality of the conversations and the consistency of the conversations that you have on a daily basis, that is essentially all you know. Because when you want to create a new future for yourself, a new identity for yourself in the future, which is linked to vision, you cannot create that because the only thing that you know is your current experiences, your current, the ways that you've dealt with things, the way that you've been spoken to, and that is essentially what your makeup is. So you step out into the unknown with a vision, and that takes courage, and you essentially work your way towards a feeling, because success is not having a car, a house, or anything like that. Success is a feeling. And that is a big revelation for a lot of you guys. You've probably never heard that before. It's not money in the bank. It's not a car. It is a feeling, because you're with yourself 24/7 on a daily basis. I know people that are incredibly wealthy, that are incredibly unhappy. I have made a significant amount of money at a very young age, and I've also been very unhappy. So I want to tell you as well that get clear on how you want to feel when you're successful. So if you want to be the best in the game, if you want to have X, if you want to have holidays, if you want to have a family, what is the feeling that that gives you? And that is essentially your target. So hopefully that's useful.
Nice. Another question from Carl. What's the best piece of advice you would give your younger self?
Buy Bitcoin.
It's crashed, actually.
To be honest, I think one of the things I'd say is you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I speak to a lot of 20-year-olds, obviously being on TikTok, call me a boomer. I was like, I'm fucking not that old. But a lot of people think that they need all their shit figured out by 20, and they think, oh, if I don't get it if I don't get it figured out by 25, the game's over. Then I speak to 30-year-olds who are worried because they're 30 now and they haven't figured life out. Then I speak to 40-year-olds and then they're worried that they haven't figured life out. And I'm just like, look, just be patient. Like, one thing I found as I'm getting older, who here's under 37? Pretty much fucking everyone. Yeah, fuck off, Phil.
34.
Fuck off. Life gets better as you get older. You give less fucks. You're clear more on what it is that you want to do. You're more patient, and you've got time. And when I speak to young people, go, "Oh, everyone says that you got fucking time." It's like, honestly, like, you're 20 now. In the last 17, if I look back at the last 17 years, it's been a fucking whirlwind. Also, in that 17 years, I've chopped and changed my mind. I've made loads of fuck-ups and mistakes, and I'm glad that I made all of it because I'm where I am today because of them. So when I say you'll be fine, you'll be fine. You are going to make so many fuck-ups, but it's great because you're going to hopefully learn from them and become better.
Yeah, I think if everybody in the room takes a moment, everybody close their eyes. Go to a moment in your life that was chaotic. Could have been recently, it might have been 5 years ago, it might have been something you experienced with your parents, whatever, a relationship, it might have been cheated on, you might have been X, Y, and Z. I don't know what it is. But go to that moment and look at how far you've advanced since that moment. If you could communicate to that younger self right now and give that younger self a message, what would it be? Say it into yourself. And you'll find there's a common thread to it. I believed in you. I love you. I trust you. I know you could do it. I know you could get through this. You're strong. Well done. So if there was a message I would give to my younger self, it would be that. And I want you guys to have the same thing too.
Just to reiterate what I said yesterday, hire a coach much sooner in every area of life, be it your business, your fitness, whatever it is, because no matter who you are, you will never reach your maximum potential without being coached. Doesn't matter what area it's in. If someone has more experience and they're willing to share it, well, then invest in that person and listen to them.
Hard work, guesswork, or framework. Framework will always win, and because somebody out there has already done it. And you'll skip so many chapters by not making those mistakes. But you've got to pay attention. The minute you know for a fact, as soon as you put skin in the game or something, things change because you've just signaled to yourself that it's important to you.
All right, lads, what would you say is like two of the most important skills that you see in a leadership sort of aspect that you would recommend everybody should work on, especially in this industry?
Ego. Sorry.
I was going to say two for me: decisiveness, making decisions, and speed of implementation. Because so many times you can sit and overthink. I think it was Colin Powell, the American sort of guy, part of the military. He was like, you can make your decisions with 40% of the information, where what we're looking for is we're looking for absolutes. We're looking for 80%, 90%, 100% of information to make a decision, and we're wasting time. We've sort of abided by this. It's either we make the decision or the decision is made for us. So just, because I know, Reese, we've had a few conversations and it's been the same thing. And it's like, be decisive, go fucking all in, and then I guarantee you, as you said, you're going to be okay. Like, You want to say something else, Sergeant?
Yeah, no, I'd say with ego, like, initially I'd say most of us got where we are today because we were stubborn fuckers and we didn't listen to anybody. And that will get you to a certain point. And if you really want things to level up, you need to be a lot more quiet, listen to more people, and get over yourself because you're not that special. And I say that to myself all the time. And it's just so important. It's not something that is fixed very quickly. It's something that you need to work on every single day. And for a lot of people who are successful, that's been the hardest thing for them to do.
I'm always known for just being straight up no nonsense, but there's a lot of you that really need to just grow a set of balls and do it. You know, there's people in Ukraine with bullets flying over their heads every day, people being diagnosed with cancer. You've got access to a mobile phone that gives you access to speak to thousands of people. You've got the internet, you've got all these resources, and you still can't do it. You know, some of you guys in the room, if you cannot implement what is done here, despite having the support, the tools, and everything else, you've really got to ask yourself why. Are you in the right career? And there is nothing wrong with actually saying, no, I'm not. And actually consider something else. Because if you look at the repeated patterns of your behavior over time, then quite frankly, something is not aligned, or you're not interested in it, or you're not around the right people. And we could be here in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, and nothing will have changed. And that requires courage to make change. And sometimes you have to step into the unknown and actually surrender to what you think should happen. And that requires courage and depth. And if you look back at any previous event in your life, you've always figured it out anyway. So, yeah, those are my 2 cents.
Just to reiterate what Jay said, I think being coachable is a skill. I think, and it seems funny because we're sitting in a room full of coaches, but I think a lot of the time coaches don't practice the skill of being coachable and actually executing on what they're told.
Any other questions in the room? Maybe let me ask this one in the meantime. So is it a bad idea to unfollow the majority of people that you follow on social media to stop yourself scrolling? Or is this cutting off leads, opportunities, conversations, or potential to add value?
Just have the discipline not to look at stuff that essentially distracts you. That links back to vision. Again, I keep saying vision again and again and again. But if you don't have a vision, you're going to get distracted because you're going to want a quick impulse to feel good or feel productive. Busy doesn't equal productive. So, yeah, those are my 2 cents.
Yeah, filter your news feeds fully. Here's the thing, like Instagram. If you're worried about unfollowing somebody because it's a difficult conversation, then mute. You can mute stories, mute posts, but still follow people. I'm fucking savage. I literally, if anything in my news feed triggers me or I'm like, oh, that person's a knob, they're gone. I don't feel bad about it. And I filter mine all the time, probably every month. I'm like, is that, you know, could I have a conversation with that person? Is that person leveling up my life? And if it's not, they're gone. And, you know, I say this to my audience, if you're not resonating with my message, go, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Because you create your own life. And one of the things about Instagram, one of the things about TikTok and the algorithm is, you know, if you're consuming negative stuff that's affecting you, it will show you more of it because you're consuming it. Because the algorithm is smart. It's like, oh, that person's looking at a lot of this stuff, so I'm going to show them more. So you need to tell the algorithm what you want to see. And what I want to see is things that are going to level me up, things that are going to make me feel good, and the things that are going to inspire me to do shit with my day, not take it away. And you have to control that.
We talk here about your environment. You know what I mean? Like, we're all in a room full of people who are like-minded, who understand that coaching is a massive part of their industry. Social media is the same thing. Why would you not audit that yourself and not have that negativity around you? One of our mentors says, you know, you got to audit your news feed, so forth. I was lying on holiday in bed in Santorini, and my partner goes to me, what are you doing? And I was unfollowing. Over the course of 3 hours, I unfollowed 1,400 people. And it was so liberating. It was so empowering. As Jay says, they're still going to follow you. You're just muting their notifications. You just don't want that around you. You still consume the content. People are still going to be aligned with their message. They're still going to follow you. So, yeah, I would say if you can remove as many distractions or obstacles, you put yourself in a better position. Okay, you may be great at, you know, going, I can juggle 3 or 4 balls at one time, but at some point you will find yourself scrolling. We all do it. Okay, but just audit that to the best of your ability and have people who do inspire you. So yeah, I would say audit it. I would say get rid of anybody who you feel is not serving you.
One more question here.
Hi, so a lot of people obviously look up to you all. Do you inspire a lot of people? Who are some people that you would look up to?
In what area? Just general? I don't look up to anybody because I don't put anybody on a pedestal. I mean, if I look up to somebody that's belittling myself, I'll look up and look at the traits that I admire in other people, and I'll recognize those traits in myself. But I'll never put anybody on a pedestal and worship them in that way. There's far too many people that I respect people, but I don't look up at people. I certainly respect them, and you have to bear in mind that if you are looking up to somebody, that individual isn't all perfect. They're good in a particular area or with a particular skill set. So I think as you essentially become more advanced, you become wiser. When you're younger, you're looking for role models to get you to the next level. And you realize when you actually meet your role models, oh, they're fucking human. So that's maybe a little bit more of an advanced answer to that, but...
Yeah, I like that. I agree with what Phil... I'm not inspired by an individual. I'm inspired by something that they do. And I take that as a framework with my own life. For example, let's throw some example. David Goggins, right? Do I want to go and run fucking a marathon every day? Do I want to be David Goggins? Do I sometimes, when I struggle with things, want to grab a bit of the mindset that he has and take it in my own framework? Yeah. Stoicism, what Stoicism teaches me is to control what you can control and let go of the things that you can't. I've taken that bit for my own. And what I would say to people is that, as Phil said, putting people on pedestals, you're looking at this person as perfect. They're a flawed individual that has problems. And the thing that people feel let down is because they've obsessed over somebody that's not real. Take something from somebody and use it for your own life. And that's what I tend to do. I'm inspired by lots of people, but for certain things which I take from them, which then I benefit from in my life. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course, everyone.
One of the questions was, who on the stage would win in an arm wrestle?
Me, hands down.
So arm wrestling isn't about strength, it's about technique.
Years ago?
There's only one way to find out, isn't there? There's only one way to find out.
Kettlebells now?
Clear the table.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Just a random story because it's arm wrestling. Who remembers FHM magazine? No, but we do. It's like it would be cancelled now, wouldn't it? But they used to have all these man things. So they used to have this report, this thing that says learn how to do something. And my mate was reading it, and one of the articles was learn how to wrestle. He goes, and he was a skinny guy, and he's like, Jay, I'll give you an arm wrestle. And obviously in my head, I'm like, yeah, okay, dick. He beat me. And I was like, what the fuck? And it's just because he said that this thing was like, when you come in, bring your shoulder in, and then use your body weight to come down. And obviously I just assumed it's just a skinny guy, and I was just going to use power, technique. See? So, pointless story, but now you know.
I'll roll with Phil, and we'll
I'm going to go with Phil.
after. I'll roll with Phil.
I'll make Phil laugh, though, and then he'll lose.
So what is your advice for someone who's stuck in a negative environment but doesn't currently have the tools to escape or move away from this but is desperate to do so?
Okay, so you can't control things that happen outside, but you can control what's in here. I live in a sleepy town called Bognor Regis, where apparently old people go to die. I had no one around me that does what I do, none. And I guarantee most of you don't have that. So my environment was based on podcasts, audiobooks, and content. And it's being able to know that you can control what goes in your head, because you have control over that. And it takes time. And yes, it's much more difficult when you're in a very negative environment. But once again, in a negative environment, you can look at it two ways. Every single day you're being challenged by things, which means that you are able to practice having a stronger mindset. I always say, like, the last 3 months I've suffered with really bad anxiety, and I've loved it. And it sounds fucked up, but I've loved it because every day I've been able to practice trying to improve it and understand it better and find things. Because I've only had it like every other month or something, I'm not going to get better at dealing with it. So if you look at negative things on a constant basis in your life as daily challenges to improve, you've got plenty of practice, which is great. And it's all up there.
maybe last question. So this is one.
Sorry, Phil. Sorry, I just want to add that. I would challenge that. Like, if you're stuck in that negative environment, to me, it sounds like a toxic relationship, a toxic job, whatever it may be. And yes, you may have to bide your time, but having a vision, having clarity of where is it you want to go, and then work towards a plan towards that, I think is super important, because it's how you deal with that day-to-day stress. If you are in that relationship and you feel like, right, I can't get out of this, well, you can. But it obviously, there's steps that you're going to want to take. So having that vision and clarity. So I would challenge that and figure out. We get a lot of people who come to us at ECA and they're like, I'm doing a law degree. I don't want to upset my parents, but that's not what my passion is. I want to become a personal trainer. I want to become a coach. At the end of the day, this is your life. It's no one else's. So I would say, obviously, without the context, I think we can always challenge that.
Last question is, with little to no money, desperate to escape the rat race of working the 9 to 5, would it be the best option to work at a job I don't want to get the money to invest in myself and my ambitions?
It depends. I always have this thing to someone, are you married? Have you got a mortgage? Have you got kids? Then you can pivot and change and make more boat burn decisions. There's two types of decision making. There's burn your boats and there's dipping your toes. When you burn your boats, people know the Greek ashore and they burnt their boats because there was no going back. There was no, when a lot of people are in that situation, some people thrive. I fucking thrive. You burn the boats and I'm like, this is gonna fucking work. But that's not good if you've got a mortgage, kids and responsibilities. That's stupid. And if you're in that position, then you need to have a plan. You need to dip your toe and go, right, do you know what? I've got all of this and I want to build let's just say an online PT business. So I have to do my 9 to 5, I have to put the kids to bed, and then from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. I've got to work on my dream. It's going to fucking suck. And it's going to be shit for the time being. But if you want to make that change, you've got to suffer for a little bit for it to happen. And that's that whole planning element of it. So ask yourself, if you've got no mortgage, no kids, no responsibility, fucking burn the boats. What's the worst that can happen? Get another job. Great. Take the risk. I didn't have that. 10 years ago, I got made redundant from my job. Had no money, just had a mortgage with the missus and put 16 grand on a credit card, rented out a studio on an industrial estate by a prison and borrowed my dad's bike to cycle up there every day because I couldn't afford a car. Boats were burnt and I had to make it work. And I fucking loved it. Because the first time in my life I was in control of it. Cycling up to that little studio, just trying to get people in the door. It's awesome. Got really quiet.
Let's give these 4 gentlemen a big round of applause.
Thanks to Phil and Jay again. Not a lot of people will know this, but it's a bit of a fucking struggle trying to organise an event like this. And Phil's been absolutely unbelievable, by the way, and helping me out. So thank you very much, Phil. You're an absolute legend. Thanks, Phil.
Can also, for PJ Michael, I think everyone will agree this, I've only been here today, but everything has been phenomenal. Just the people that I've met today, the staff, everything.
Lift the roof for those guys.
Yeah, massive round of applause for these guys.